Hello my loves, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is your girl Kensthetic with the Kensthetics, and I'm here with you guys today with a new video. Didn't know that love would change ya, and I woke up to a stranger. After all this time I thought that I knew, but when I was no debating. In today's video, I wanted to sit here and do a little girl talk, do a little girl chit chat as we, sip on our drink. Because what is a girl talk? What is a girl chit chat without a little drinky drink? Okay, I wanted to sit here and talk to you guys all about friendships, give you guys tips, advice, and share some story times and experiences about friendships. You guys compliment me all the time on my friendships, so I was just like, we might as well sit here and do a little chit chat about what it takes to be a great friend, the importance of being a great friend, and share some tea, because what is a girl talk without some tea? Okay, so if you guys are interested in hearing today's girl talk, girl chit chat, then go ahead and keep on watching. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We are on the road to 17K, so make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn on your bell notifications, give this video a big thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So grab your drink, whatever that may be, your glass of wine, your margarita, your H2O. I am sipping on a Simply Spiked lemonade, the strawberry peach flavor. If you follow me on TikTok, you should already know how I feel about these things, okay? I have been sipping on them for the past few months. They be getting your girl right, okay? They be making your girl feel nice. So if you guys have not tried them out yet, check out my TikTok review, because I give you guys all of the tea over there. But let's go ahead and put her down for a second, because I feel like I'm getting a little too lit already and we just started. So if you guys don't know, I do value my relationships with my friends a lot. I feel like it took me a lot to get to this space though. I was one of those girls who was, in a relationship wrapped up under somebody's son and literally acted like my friends did not exist. I did not celebrate any birthdays. I did not attend any girls' trips. I didn't even go out to the club, child. Okay, your girl, I don't want to say I was on lock, but I don't want to say I was on lock, but I don't want to say I was on lock, because I wasn't really on lock. But I just feel like I put all of my time, I put all of my energy into my romantic relationship, and I basically abandoned my friendships. I was in that place for a while in my life, and then once, we let that dead weight go, I feel like I started building or rebuilding relationships with my friends, because when I got out of that situation, I feel like myself and my friends, we were all at different places of our lives. So I feel like I had to relearn my friends, relearn, where we were in our lives currently, and rebuild those friendships. And I'm so happy that I did that, because I value my friends so much. Like, the relationships I have with my friends, I would not trade for anything. So yeah, that's just some background information on, how we got to this place and why we value this place so much and why it means so much to us. So I guess my first tip or my first piece of advice is that if you are someone who is in a romantic relationship, do not abandon your friends, okay? A lot of times people are like, mommy, and forget about their friends. And then once the man leaves, that's when they run back to their friends and act like they did not just abandon them for years or for months. So don't be that girl, okay? I'm here to tell you guys, whether you are single, taken, confused, whatever the case is, always remember that your friends come before anything. Do not allow any romantic relationship to basically replace what you have with your friends. You can still have a man, you can still have a romantic relationship, and you can still have a strong friendship. So always keep that in mind. That is something that I wish that I knew or I acknowledged during those years, but I did not. So as I always say, I take the L so y'all can take the W. When it comes to friendships, I'm a strong believer that you have to be a good friend in order to keep a good friend. So a lot of times I feel like we expect things from other people that we don't even give to ourselves, let alone to other people. So in life, you really have to have realistic expectations. You have to really sit back and think, am I a good friend? Because if I'm not a good friend, then why would I expect somebody else to be a good friend to me? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to first understand what you expect from your friendships. So what does a good friend look like to you? To me, I feel like a good friend is somebody that I can 100% be myself around. Someone who is not going to judge me based on any decisions that I make, based on anything that I do. Like, it's a no judgment zone. Somebody who doesn't feel threatened by me, or somebody who doesn't, want less for me than they want for themselves. Like, as a friend, I always want my friends to have just as much as me or more. Like, we always strive for more. I'm saying we because whatever my friends do, it's us, okay? It's a us thing. It's not just them. It's not just me. We understand that we are in this together. A good friend to me is somebody who is loyal, somebody who, when you're not in the room, they're going to speak highly of your name, and you never have to worry about what the conversation is going to be when your name comes up in a room and you are not there. A good friend to me is somebody who always has your best interest in mind, whether that benefits them or hurts them. They always want the best for you. They always want to see you in a winning position. They would never take, food out of your mouth or anything off of your table. A good friend to me is somebody who knows when you need them. You don't explicitly have to say that you need them. They can sense your energy. A good friend is somebody who is positive no matter what the situation may be, whether it is good, whether it is bad. They just exude positive energy to a space where you don't like, what's negativity? What is negativity? We don't know her. We don't acknowledge her over here. So when I think of the long list of things that I believe a good friend should exude, I sit back and I think, okay, do I do those things in my friendship? Because if I don't, I can't expect that from other people. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think the first step when it comes to like defining what a good friend is or expecting a good friendship out of someone, you really have to sit back and understand what a good friend is to you, and do you contribute that to someone else to even expect that for yourself. The next tip that I want to share when it comes to being a good friend or having good friendships is understanding that disagreements do happen. Okay, we are all human. We do not all think the same. We do not all, have the same values. We have not all came from the same background. So what may be important to you may not be as important to someone else, and vice versa. So disagreements happen, period. Whether it's in romantic relationships, friendships, work relationships, disagreements happen because nobody is the same. We don't all think the same. But what's most important when it comes to disagreements is how you deal with them, okay? If you argue every time someone, doesn't agree with what you're saying or has a opposite opinion, that is not going to lead to a healthy relationship or a healthy friendship. I think what's the most important when a disagreement does come up is not only communicating how you feel, but listening to what the other person is saying. I think listening is a skill that I don't know what it is. I don't know if it skipped our generation or what, but I find that a lot of people don't listen. And it's not just listening like, oh girl, go put the cup over there. It's listening like, I'm speaking, I'm trying to get a point across, and you're just like missing everything that I'm saying. It's like the ear no work. Like, I don't know what it is with our generation, but I don't know if it's just our generation, but I feel like a lot of people just don't listen. So when it comes to disagreements, I always make sure to express how I feel, no matter how I think it may impact the other person. I want to make sure I get my point across, and at the same time I listen to the point that the other person has, because we're not going to resolve a situation if we're just going back and forth. Like, it doesn't work like that. So understand disagreements happen. Understand that every disagreement doesn't mean an argument, or disagreements period don't have to mean an argument. It's just an opportunity for two parties, you and your friend, to express how you guys feel to each other, listen to how the other person feels, and actually take that into account and understand, like, where that person is coming from. Sometimes it may be hard to understand just because, as I mentioned, we come from different backgrounds, we have different values. Every disagreement isn't going to be resolved. That's another thing. So it may be just things that you cannot discuss with certain friends. You know what I'm saying? Because also another point is, you can have good friends for different parts of your life. Like, it would be great to have friends that you could bring everywhere and do everything with, but we need to understand, especially as grown adults, that you cannot do the same thing with all of your friends. Okay, we have certain friends that we could bring out of the country. We have certain friends that we could bring up the block. We have certain friends that we could bring to business meetings. We have certain friends that we could bring to the bar to grab a drink. We have friends for everything in life. So understand that just because somebody is a good friend in a certain aspect of your life, that doesn't mean that you have to pull them into another aspect. If someone doesn't enjoy traveling or isn't, you know, a travelista just like you can't expect them to go on a trip with you and trip how you trip, you know what I'm saying? So understand that you have friends for different things in life, and I think it is so important to understand that, like, so important. Once I figured that out, I'm like, okay, like, I just felt more refreshed, because I'm like, why is this person not understanding what I'm saying? Why does this person don't want to do this? Why does this person don't want to come here? But it's just that may not align to where they are in life. That may not align to where they want to be in life. And that's absolutely fine, because we also learn at our own paces. So we also can't expect people to grow at the same rate that we do, we are, or we have. Ooh, this next one is a goodie. Never confuse the length of a relationship with the strength of a relationship, okay? I'm gonna repeat that again, because I feel like I gotta run that one back. Never confuse the length of a relationship with the strength of a relationship. And if you don't know what I'm saying that just because you knew somebody from the time when y'all were in diapers, just because you grew up with this person, just because you knew this person for the longest period of time amongst all of your friends, that does not necessarily indicate that you and that person are going to have the strongest relationship. That does not indicate that you and that person are going to have the strongest friendship. That is so important, because I have fought all my life. Nah, I have fought for a long time. Like, I've known this person for 10 plus years. Why would they do this? I've known this person for a decade. They're not like this. Or I've known this person for 10 years. Like, they're gonna be my ride or die. They're gonna be with me until the end. It's so important to understand that just because you have known somebody for X amount of time, that does not mean that you guys have the strongest relationship, or that does not mean that you guys have the strongest friendship. I'm at a point in my life now, I know some people are like, no new friends, no new friends, no new friends, no new. That's not me, okay, honey? I am open to making new friends. I am open to meeting new people. I am open to, you know, growing with others, because I just feel like there's so many people out there that we haven't met. And it's just like, if you sit here and you're like, these are my friends and these are the only people I want to be around and these are the only people I need, and I feel like you're holding yourself back. You're holding yourself back from experiences. You're holding yourself back from growth. You're holding yourself back from opposite. You're holding yourself back from so many different things by just being out here shouting, no new friends, no new friends, no new. I'm just like, grow up. But that's just me, okay? So I say all of that to say that I'm the type of person where I'm open to making new friends. I have made so many new friends within the past few years, and literally our relationship feels like I've known them forever. And when I tell people how long I knew them, they're like, get out, like, you lying, girl. And I'm like, yes, girl, I only knew them for X amount of time. So I say all of that to say that, especially as grown adults, we tend to establish deeper or closer relations with people that we have just met. Because for me specifically, I feel like I can sense people's energy. I can sense, you know, whether things are genuine and whether they're not. And that allows me to feel more comfortable with certain people. So there's people I've met within the past 2 years, and I'm just like, oh yeah, we click instantly. Like, I can feel the vibes. I can feel the energy. I can feel that we are in the same space. I can feel that we are growing in the same direction. So that is a friendship that I am willing to invest in. That is a friendship that I'm willing to, you know, keep around. But there are some people I met within the past 2 years, and I'm like, we not at the same place in our life. So it's like, I can be cordial with you, but I wouldn't necessarily consider you a friend, if that makes sense. I wouldn't really invest time and energy into our friendship, because I know that we are in two different places, and that would just, you know, that wouldn't really do anything for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's not doing anything for me in the sense of like, I'm a user or I want certain people around for certain things. It's just like, you have to understand what you value in life. Like, whether you value for people to be around, whether you value for you to not feel lonely, whether you value for whatever the case is, you need to understand what's going to benefit you. And if something is not going to benefit you, then so, a little story time, okay? Because I told y'all, what is a girl talk? What is a girl chit chat without tea? So, I had one best friend. You guys have never seen her before. Like, the people I'm going to talk about, you guys have never seen them on my channel, because they were, like, gone before I even found my way onto the social platform of YouTube. But I had a best friend back in high school, and we were like so close. Like when you saw me, you saw her. When you saw her, you saw me. Girl, we even had matching tattoos. That's the real tea. But we were like best of friends, and I was like, this is my ride or die, X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. And she would do certain things that like I wouldn't agree with, but I'm just like, you know, that's her, I'm me. But what was a true test of our friendship was when it was time for college. So she ended up staying in the city for college, and I ended up going away for college. So we would still communicate, not as often as before. You guys know, when you're in college, the credit's got a credit. You got to make sure that you pass your classes. You're trying to be social on campus. You're trying to do so many different things that, not that you forget what you have back at home, but I'm not in my phone texting as much. I'm not calling people as often. You know what I'm saying? Especially during like the first year of transitioning into being a college student. So I feel like, not that our relationship fell apart, but we weren't as close as we were when we were in high school together in the city. And when I say the city, I mean New York City, because I'm from New York, in case you guys don't know. So fast forward to what I believe was my sophomore year. So I would go home like from college, because I went to school upstate New York. So I would go back to New York City for the holidays. I didn't go home as often because girl, them bus tickets. So I came home for the holidays. Whenever I came from the holidays, I would be working my retail job still, because I used to work at Foot Locker, and my managers were so gracious that they allowed me to keep my job when I was in college. It was just like, you know, when you come home for the holidays, put some hours in, because I was like the top sales associate. Anyways, I say all that to say, whenever I did go back to New York City, I was booked and busy, okay? I was hanging out with my college friends in New York City, X, Y, and Z. So I didn't spend as much time as her when I was in New York City either. And it was partially my fault, because we make time for the things we want to make time for. But I don't know. I just felt like she would always want to hang out with niggas. And I wasn't the type of girl who really wanted to hang out with niggas. Okay, I had me a little boo back then, and I used to chill with him whenever I went to New York City. So I had my plans set up, okay, and she was not in my plans. So I saw that we were growing apart, but at that time, I didn't really pay attention to the fact of like, okay, how can I reconcile things? Or how can we, you know, spend more time together even though I am away? So that was freshman year of college. Sophomore year of college, girl, the boy, because he's a boy. The boy that I was talking to offered to pay like for my bus ticket for me to come home to New York City for like a weekend so that we could spend time together. So I'm like, ooh, okay, pack my bag, run to the bus stop, Greyhound, New York City, hanging out with him, blah, 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 blah. So I don't remember, I think we were on Snapchat back then, but I had posted something basically saying like, you know, I was in New York City, and she had texted me to try to call me to tell me about some guy. And at that time, I wasn't really interested in hearing her boy problems, because I was so invested in my relations with somebody's son that I'm just like, I don't really want to hear this right now. So it could have been selfish of me, whatever the case is, but let me tell y'all what she did. She wrote me, and she was basically like, oh, it's messed up that you came to New York City and you did not tell me, and you just want to hang out with that nigga, and you're a hoe. And I said, did she just call me a hoe? A hoe? Oh, it was crazy. I was just like, okay, yes, I want to hang out with mommy, but so what? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that proved to me that she was kind of like, I don't want to say jealous of what I had going on, but for you to throw that in my face, after you knew how I felt about him at the time, I felt some type of way, okay? I felt some type of way, and I really didn't know what to say back, so I honestly didn't respond to her. And then I feel like she started being petty, because I told y'all we had matching tattoos, okay? And like that was my first ever tattoo. That wasn't her first tattoo, but it was my first tattoo. So it meant a lot to me. I'm like, this is my first tattoo. I got this my sophomore year of high school. My mother didn't know I had it at the time. My mother didn't know I got it. So I felt like, you know, it was something real important to me. I'm like, oh, you know, I got a tattoo. I'm lit. Can y'all believe that the girl went on, I think at this time we were like transitioning to Instagram, but she went on Instagram and she posted that her and some girl that basically she didn't even talk to in high school went and got matching tattoos. I'm like, girl, what? So I felt some type of way because, as I told you guys, the tattoo meant a lot to me. It was my first tattoo. It was a matching tattoo that I had with who I believed was my best friend at the time. And I felt some type of way that she did that. So I didn't say anything to her because I'm just like, I didn't respond to you before, so I can't impress you because I didn't respond to your previous message. But also, it's like, we're grown, or we're growing up, so it's like, we're gonna do what we want to do. I can't tell you what to do. I cannot control what you do. So go ahead, girl, do your thing, do your big one, do whatever you want to do. So I don't remember how we like officially stopped talking, but we stopped talking. If you guys are wondering, yes, I still have the tattoo. If you guys are wondering, no, I don't plan on covering the tattoo up. The tattoo is on my ankle. It's a universal friendship symbol, and to me, it looks like an L. So when people ask me what it is, I say an L. To me, it really is an L because I did take an L, but... So I just share all of that to say that we were friends for a long time, what I consider to be a long time, and our relationship or our friendship wasn't as strong as I guess I perceived it to be. And then when things fell apart, it made me realize, like, damn, just because I knew her for X amount of time, we were not the closest. We were holding on to this title of like being best friends, and we did not even like, you know, redefine or like live up to what our expectations of being best friends were to each other. So that kind of crumbled our relationship. Meanwhile, I have friends that I met less than a year when I was in college, and like, they were people that I would really look back and consider my best friends. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, never confuse the strength of a relationship with never confuse the length of a relationship with the strength of a relationship. Take things for what they are, and make sure you're doing a lot of self-reflection, especially in your friendships, because we're human. We grow, okay? We grow. We may grow closer. We may grow apart. There may be things that need to be reconciled, and we may not realize that because we're just so caught up in whatever our focus may be at the moment, whether it's a job, whether it's a romantic relationship. But make sure you are self-reflecting and making sure that you and your friends are growing in aligned spaces. Okay, make sure your friendships align with what you have going on in life and where you want to eventually be in life, if that makes sense. The next tip that I want to share when it comes to great friendships is to set boundaries. Okay, boundaries are so important, and I think that the book that I was reading, or the book that I'm currently reading, y'all, it's the same book I've been reading all year. I know we are like 7 months into the year and I'm still reading the same book. Shame on me, but life has been life. But either way, I'm reading Feed the Soul by Tabitha Brown. Great book, highly recommend. I tell you guys about it all the time. But through that book, I realized how important it is to set boundaries. Set boundaries with other people, and also set boundaries with yourself. Understand what you're willing to accept, understand what you're not willing to accept, and I feel like that will make life so much easier. Like, life will just be so much more refreshing because you're like, wow, I know what I'm willing to take and I know what I'm not willing to take. And if you're not giving me what I want in life, baby, you gotta go, okay? And that's that on that. So yes, when it comes to boundaries, understand what you're willing to accept, understand what you're not willing to accept, and understand what you're willing to accept and understand what you're not willing to accept, and stand on that, okay? Do not let anyone or anything try to change your mind because of anything, okay? You want what you want, and you want it for a reason, and that's that on that, okay? I'm at a point in my life too where I understand, like, it's okay to be selfish. I feel like being selfish has such a negative connotation that we're scared to be selfish. And as grown adults, which I'm gonna keep saying because we are grown adults, we have to understand that being selfish is one of the best ways to protect our energy, protect ourselves, and just make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. So that is the most important thing, right? So with setting boundaries, you also want to understand that you don't owe anybody an explanation, okay? I tell myself in life, this may just be me, but I feel like I don't owe anybody an explanation but God. And I feel like through my spirituality journey, that's something that I realize, and that's something I stand on, because a lot of times people feel the need to like want to press you or want to, you know, get an answer out of you, and you really don't owe anybody an explanation but God. And I think it's also important to realize that boundaries are healthy. I feel like sometimes we may think like setting boundaries or establishing our boundaries may be us like blocking people out or blocking things out. But once you understand why you have set that boundary, once you understand the purpose of that boundary, and everything that comes behind it, you'll realize that boundaries are real healthy. Okay, we need boundaries. So don't let anyone be out here taking you for idiot, making you feel uncomfortable about things that you are comfortable with, just because, you know, they may say, oh, you're my friend, or, you know, I don't know what people be saying nowadays, girl. But just understand that boundaries are important and you need them in friendships. So even like sometimes I like being on the phone with my friends a lot, but sometimes, you know, I may be working, or I may be filming, or I may be doing this. And a lot of times people are like, well, I called you and I had this problem, so why did you not pick up the phone? And I'm like, I have certain hours where I work. I have certain hours where I work after work. I have certain hours I go to the gym. I have certain hours where I go to classes. So it's just like, I know what I have going on for myself, okay? So if you feel like I have to stop everything that I'm doing in order to answer your call, to hear about, you know, whatever you have going on, like, sure, I want to hear about it. Sure, I want to help you. But at the same time, I understand I have to put myself first. I have to take care of what I have to take care of for myself first, and then after, I can go ahead and divert my time and energy to other things. So friends that don't understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, to me personally, at this point in my life, those are not really friends that I would want around, because that's not something you could teach someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's another thing too. As grown adults, we can teach certain things, but I feel like the ways that people have are not things that we can change, or not things we should expect to change. Like, the way people are is how they are. Okay, I'm not in the business of coaching. Like, I'm not in the business of changing anyone's mindset. But yeah, understand that boundaries are important, boundaries are healthy, and boundaries are definitely needed when it comes to friendships. So next up, I wanted to talk about some things that I do to maintain healthy friendships with my girls and my boys. But I like to randomly call my friends whenever I think of them. So if I start to think about somebody who I haven't spoke about in a while, I just pick up this phone right here, call them and be like, hey, how are you doing? And a lot of times I feel like, I don't want to say a lot of times, so sometimes people may feel like, oh, I haven't spoke to you in X amount of time, why didn't I speak to you? The people who I consider my friends don't have that issue. Like, my friends understand we're all busy. We're all, like, you know, in different spaces, whether we have kids, whether we have busy jobs, whether we have whatever we have going on. We understand that we're at different spaces in our life. So when I pick up the phone and I randomly call my friends, we pick up wherever we left off. It's never a conversation of where have you been? Why have you not called me? That's just too much for me. I don't have the energy for that in my life. I just don't. So I appreciate my friends for understanding that I don't always have the time to speak. I don't always have the capacity to speak. I have things going on in my life. So I like to randomly call my friends. That's something I like to do, something you could implement. Whenever you think of your friends, just call them. Like, it's nothing to pick up the phone and call people. I feel like we're so conditioned to writing on social media, watching on social media, texting. But to me, nothing compares to a good, authentic FaceTime call, okay? So pick up the phone, call your friends whenever you think of them. Something else I want to say is to make the time to connect with your friends in person, because once again, nothing compares to an authentic FaceTime call, but not to simply having me stuttering, but nothing compares to an authentic FaceTime call except for meeting up in person. Okay, meeting up in person. Go out to dinner. You don't always have to go to a turn up either. I'm telling y'all this right now. I do not like to turn up. I'm not in that place in my life anymore. Like, I'll turn up once in a while, but I'm not going out every weekend. And also, I feel like going out isn't a way to really connect with your friends, because there's music playing. You guys are probably under some type of influence, so you don't really get to connect. You don't really get to catch up. People don't really feel comfortable speaking because you're in an environment that does not foster, you know, for those relationships. You're not in a place that encourages you to have that one-on-one conversation, to have that one-on-one connection. So when it's time to link up with your friends in person to do catch-ups, don't depend on a club scene. Don't depend on a lounge scene. Don't depend on hookah. Do not depend on Casamigos, okay? Go out and have a nice reserved dinner. Go out and, you know, get some coffee. Like, go over and just hang out at your friend's house. Everything doesn't always have to be an outing. And I feel like with the way that our generation has grown to be, people always feel like you have to be in the spot with your friends. You have to do that. That's one aspect of my relationships with my friends. Okay, we can go out and we can have a good old time in the club, but also we can sit around on the couch talking, watching movies, doing things that we enjoy. So don't always feel like, oh, I went out with my friends, so I spent time with them. That's not really time being spent. that's not really time being spent. Okay, that's a good time being had, but it's not time being spent. So understand that it's important to have catch-up sessions in person with your girls, with your boys. And it's not always about going out to the club. It's not always about being in someone's spot. It's not always about being in a section. Okay? So another word of advice, tip / story time that I wanted to share when it comes to great friendships is that a lot of times we look at what people are going through and we're like, I could never be that person. I could never do this. That'll never be me. Why are you like this? Let him go. It's, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of times we don't really understand that we were probably once that person. Like, I'm the type of girl, let me tell y'all something, okay? I was that girl once upon a time in my life where I was a certified dumbass, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I continued to mess with someone who red flags were as bright as my shirt, okay? And I didn't want anyone telling me anything. No matter what people shared with me, I'm like, that is my man on my man. I'm going to ride and I'm going to die. Nobody could divert us. Y'all just trying to break us up. Nobody want to see us together, but it don't matter, no. That was me, okay? So especially when it comes to conversations about romantic relationships, a lot of times we're just like, oh my gosh, she's so annoying, or this person is so annoying, all they do is talk about this person, they're so dumb, just leave them. But for me personally, whenever, you know, I have friends that are in situations like that, I understand it because I was once, you know, in that situation too. I was not always like the person where it was like, oh, red flag, I'm leaving. Even though that's how I think now, I'm like, once I see one red flag, baby, I'm on the 610 going home, okay? I am not staying around once I see red flags, because those red flags, they just continue to grow, baby. That is one thing about some red flags. So now I'm the type of person where it's like, once I see one red flag, I'm going. But before, I was the type of person where I was trying to turn them red flags green so motherfucking bad. So when I have friends that are dealing with things that, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be anything, but friends that are dealing with situations that I know I've dealt with before, and I'm aware that I dealt with those things, because guess what? Your girl be self-reflecting. I am always patient with, you know, my friends going through those situations, because a lot of times people will not learn the lesson or learn the significance of things until they go through it. So you can sit here and you can tell people what to do, A through Z, 1 to 3, front to back, back to front, and they're not going to do it, because we learn from our experiences. Sometimes people will, you know, take your L and turn it into a W, but sometimes people just have to take the L on their own in order to learn. So I think it's very important to understand that, especially in friendships, because a lot of times we may be impatient just because, you know, we've gone through an experience similar and we understand, you know, I wish I did this, but you can't sit here and tell somebody else to react the way that you wish you did, because they may be in a vulnerable space. They may be in a insecure space. So just being patient in your friendships and understanding that, you know, if somebody's going through something similar that you have experienced, like, coach them through it. Coach them through it in a way that you think they will best, you know, take the advice or hear the advice. Because a lot of times we can hear advice, but we won't understand it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, be patient in your friendships. Understand that everyone isn't you. You're not everyone. Everyone is different. And I feel like once you understand that, it'll put you in a space where you can grow in a positive manner within your friendships. So yeah, I feel like I did so much talking, I didn't even finish my drink. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this girl talk, girl chit chat, story time, tea session, whatever you want to call it. I hope you guys have learned something from this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys comment down below and let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions. Let me know if we should do like a part 2, or if we should possibly even make this into a series. I really want to share experiences that I've been through, because I've been through a lot, girl, especially when it comes to friendship. So make sure you guys comment down below and let me know if you guys would like to see more. And if you guys have any ideas or any questions of things you guys would like to see more of, comment and let me know. So before you guys head out, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel, give this video a big thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and until my next video, I'll see you guys later.